I care about in terms of like going forward with this, because it's just a lack of respect. Like, I would never do that to my friend.
I'm sorry, Annie.
And I think that's just what I wanted to talk about, because I'm like, this genuinely meant something to me. There was something that I was building here. I was investing my time
Today we're
here.
talking Real Housewives of Durban episode 11. So Real Housewives of Durban have been here for like the longest, and it's fast coming to an end. I think after this episode, the next episode will be the very last one. And it's been fun. So this episode had a lot of drama, and I feel for this episode, Nonku was like a subject of conversation all around. So this episode was a fun-filled one, but before I go into the conversation proper, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, because the gist never ends with longer. So let us have a conversation about Real Housewives of Durban episode 11. The cast all went to this place, and it was hosted by Slee, and this is like the very first event Slee is being hosted. Like, Slee is hosting, and the conversation now for this event is now about Slee's financial stability and how well she can able to kind of how well she is, like her financial status. Then we also have this Mabusi vibe conversation, and we left this Mabusi vibe conversation, I think it was in episode 9 or so. Mbali have been on and off on the show, so it was not really addressed when I think the following episode or so. But on this episode, it was really, really addressed, and it was interesting. Then this Jojo inability to take accountability too was another issue which was discussed in this episode, and it feels so good to see that the likes of Annie and the rest were able to kind of put it to Jojo that she needs to take accountability about things she does. So this episode is actually a fun-filled one, away from the fact that people are complaining about how toxic this group are now becoming, especially Jojo, Nonku, and Rowan. However, are they really toxic? That's a question which we all need to ask and kind of get answered to. So for this episode conversation or recap or review which I'll be doing, I will not really talk about how the event actually happened, like give it discuss the event or narrate the event as it happens. I also want to talk about the cast like individually so far on the show and on this episode. So I'm starting with Nonku. Nonku have been this controversial cast of this reality TV show since season 1. And there's one thing which everybody always say, like, Nonku is carrying the show on her head. Nonku is like, she's really making the show worth to be watched. Yes, I'm not a fan of Nonku and what she kind of represents and how she has always been on the show. But truth be told, Nonku impact on the show is so much, and I feel if they need to get probably a substitute or someone who can match her energy before this franchise can actually let her go. However, she's now fast doing so much that is now making a lot of person to now see through the things she has always done, which are not so right from season 1 to and even this season. So for this episode, for me, she did a whole lot of things which are not so good. It's just so mean and annoying how she deals. The conversation about her telling Mbali that Slee is broke and the rest now. So in this episode, Slee actually kind of puts it to her like, I hate you have this conversation with Mbali, and what do you mean? And at this point, she was now stuttering. She could not really speak for herself. Noko, who has always been an advocate of speak up, speak right, she's always the one that will always like, she will always say things the way she likes, the way it comes to her mind. She will not coin words, she will not make minds, is it minds or means words or something like that, but this time she could not even really say what she could not defend herself, and it's just so annoying to see her going on, and especially with Slee. These two people are supposed to be friends, but it's not every time you have to be friends with someone. I think I'm saying too much. So that's one thing about Nonku. Then a friendship with Jojo. Nonku and Jojo have been this Jojo joining Nonku or teaming up with Nonku is one funny thing I never saw coming this episode, sincerely. What we left the last season with was Jojo and Nonku were not really like friends. But coming to see this season, and these two are now besties. Though I was open to, okay, let us see what they are up to this season. Let us see if truly probably while this before this season, the filming for this season started, probably they've been able to um build a friendship. So that was one thing I was looking forward to find out on this season. But we understand that they build a friendship and they now understand themselves. So that's everything I want to say about Nonku. And for me, I just feel like she shouldn't have had such conversation about Slee. And since she had, she should have taken responsibility because she's someone who is always advocating for, like, I will always speak my mind the way it comes to me. I don't actually have to coin my words. But now, why is she not keeping up with that energy? So that's all I want to say on Nonku. Then the next person is Slee. Slee actually hosted the ladies, and she did not really reveal herself until they got to the what's the name, the location for the event and the rest, and she eventually told them that she's the one hosting. And I saw a comment that it's probably because of the comments that is going on that, oh, she's broke and the rest. Probably if every one of them hear that she's hosting an event, probably they'll feel, oh, she'll not be able to cater for them so well and they might not come. And it's true. I feel if Jojo, Nonko, and Rohan had known that Slee is the one hosting this event, I'm so sure these people will not really be there. So it's actually a very nice strategy she really put. Event is yet, so the trip is yet to be done. We're yet to see everything from the trip, but so far it's a very lovely place they had gone to and the rest. So Slee actually confronted Nonku. I think I already discussed that, and Nonku could not even really speak up about what she's saying all around about Slee. And Sorisha is just there, and I actually like the energy Sorisha is now giving. Her comments. Sorisha before is always like the peacemaking one. She's always the one that wants to be cool with everybody. She wants to satisfy everybody. She wants to see good in everybody's action and the rest. But this point, I think Sorisha is now taking side, and it's, I don't know if it's giving me being a terrible person. No, I just think it's just high time she started doing that, and it's just lovely that she did just that, because she can always keep up with wanting to be the peaceful one in the team, and always having to see these people, regardless of the fact that she does this, they still come for her, they still drag her and the rest, or probably they don't even really regard her. So it's actually nice that she's picking a struggle. So that's that for Sorisha. Then Annie, I felt so bad for Annie this episode. If you've always seen my videos, which I'll be putting the link to other episodes which I've done down in the description of this video. If you've always seen my video, I've always discussed about how I feel about Annie and how Annie had grown as one of the cast of this show. Prior to this season, yeah, the Annie we know is like, for me, I saw Annie as a mean girl. I saw her as a bully. Yes, because Annie is always someone who is always talking about um her being bullied and the rest, and she had decided to be so defensive about herself and the rest. But I just feel like she had that. I'm talking about this from, I think, season 2, and season 2 especially. So how she was bullied as a child and the rest, and that had actually made her build a wall around her in which she's always at a defensive mode in order not to still experience that. But I feel experience with life, or her experience with bullying and the rest, and actually make her indirectly become one, which she does not know. But with this season and her talking about that she has always gone for therapy, she has been going for therapy, I'm just so happy that like Annie had grown to be so much of a better person. Like the initial episodes, like when the episode 1, 2, 3, 4 actually came up, I was on this conversation, I was always saying Annie is succeeding to project herself as a better person, and it's a very good thing she's doing on this reality TV show. But now I'm not just convinced that she's projecting herself, but I'm convinced that she is now a better person when it comes to relation with people and how she feels it. Because I know she don't care about Nonku, fine, but that does not mean like she treat her as a mess. She does not just want to be in You know Nonku now. Everyone know Nonku and how Nonku is hot-headed. Annie is not cool-headed either. Annie will actually say things the way she wants to say it. She does not really care about how you feel. So, and I think that's one thing that will not really make Nonku and Annie to really understand themselves, because these two people are straight talkers. So I think they cannot really coexist, and I think Annie has actually realized that, and she never even forced any kind of relationship or friendship with Nonko, and it's fine. You get. So for Annie on this episode 11 now, the only thing which I felt bad for her, how Jojo had decided to be insensitive, had decided not to be a cool friend and something like that. Annie really took deliberate efforts to have this conversation, and I felt how very pained she is about Jojo. And Jojo was just, she went on and on, even going. I think I just feel Jojo went too far on this episode, and it is what it is. So speaking of Jojo, let me speak of Jojo. So for Jojo, we know how Jojo have been a mess on this show since season 2. Jojo is hey, Sorisha actually made a comment which she said she sees Jojo as someone who is an eat, run, and cry. And that speaks so true about Jojo, because she does things, she'll just pick up one thing, she'll do this thing, she'll do it wrong. She know I've done this thing wrong. She knows she had actually messed up, but that's the eating part. She will really do something which is wrong, which everyone knows like this is not right. After doing this, then she run away from it, which is her not really taking responsibility. That's the from the eat stage where she do this, and she's very aggressive. She's fast to insult. She's fast to break things. She's fast to you've been seeing the show, you know what I mean by this eat and the rest. Then for the run, she does not really take responsibility. She run away from these things. That's probably like just the case of the trip. After going all and on and throwing water and all the rest, she left the trip. She left them there. Even when she was told to apologize to them during Sorisha's event last episode, she still find her way out of it and find the excuse of Calvin is having his heart surgery and the rest. She always run away from taking responsibility. Then they cry. That's one of her well-known strategy to run away. So it's at the verge of, or when she knows like at this point I just have to take responsibility, then she starts to cry. And even this episode too, why they actually talk to her about how she's been having conversation with Sane, and having a whole lot of conversation about Annie and the rest with Sane prior, when even before all of them get to understood Sane or probably get to get along with Sane, she still did not really clear that issue, and herself, her bestie, and Rohan, that is Jojo, Noko, and Rohan, find a way to leave the table just there. So that's that for Jojo. Then let me talk Mbali. Mbali is an on and off person on the show. Many people had this reaction or had this claim that this Mabusi vibe story is just a way for, it's just something Mbali is really riding on to have a storyline. Yeah, so will I agree with this? I'm just kind of saying yes to it and no to it. But I think my yes will be louder than my no, because Mbali doesn't really have a story on this show. And one thing that is making her not to have a storyline is the fact that she's absent. So in this episode, she confronted Nonko about this Mabusi vibe, and I feel like she went too aggressive about it. Yes, because she could have had this, and there's also this conversation like, why did she not have a conversation with Nonko privately rather than doing that on the table? I felt like there was nothing to talk about on the table. Everybody was shying away from having conversation, so she decided to do that. So for me, I felt for for like content wise, or for them to just have something to say, it was right for her to have done that there. But if she was being diplomatic, she shouldn't have done that then. So that's how I'll justify Mbali's action. For me, I feel that thing was not so much, but now seeing for me, the statement like Mbali is giving Mabusi vibe is not a mean statement. It does not. It's not like it's not something so horrible. But now, and I get to understand that Nonku did not really mean this thing lightly, for the fact that she could not even defend herself. She could not be like, oh, I do not mean anything malicious with this statement. I just felt like, oh, you give me some actions, you make me remember Mabusi, something like that, which I feel like that's what Nonko meant. But now, seeing that Nonko could not even come up with things like this, I feel probably Nonko means something more malicious, brutal than what I feel like, and it is what it is. Like, yeah, so that's that for Mbali. So who else have I not talked about? Maria. So Maria, Maria have just been like one cast of the show. She's actively like in conversation. Okay, and for this episode, it was just how our friendship with Jojo is falling apart. Mabusi, Maria and Jojo and Rowan, they were like, oh, they were cool, and I think they share good friendship even away from the show. But because of Nonku and Jojo's friendship, Maria and Jojo start to fall apart. And with Jojo's action from a trip, I think Maria kind of lets go. And for me, I will not really feel bad if Maria actually lose Jojo as a friend, because Maria actually took deliberate efforts to she went after Jojo, tried to be there for her and the rest. So I don't really see why Jojo decided to neglect her. Yeah, I don't see why. And I like the fact that Maria is not one of these people who are enabling, who are supporting this attitude, these characters which Jojo is exhibiting on this show, which is not a very good one. So I like Maria that she's standing on what's right. So who else again have I not talked about? We've talked about, I think